يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء، واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم، ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله، وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، وكل محدثة بدعة، وكل بدعة ضلالة، وكل ضلالة في النار. A Bedouin came to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to him, "Ask me, and you shall be granted." So the man said, "I want a camel so I can ride, and I want a few goats so we can use the milk and feed ourselves for my family." So the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ gave him what he wished. Then he turned towards his companions after the man left. He said he could have asked as the elderly woman of Bani Israel. So the companions of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said to him, "What's the story of the old woman of Bani Israel?" The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, when Musa alayhi salam guided the people of Bani Israel out of Egypt, they lost their way. And he could not figure out the direction to take him out of Egypt. So he turned towards the scholars of Bani Israel. And he said to them, "What's going on?" They said, "The Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam, before his death, we took an oath in front of him, and he told us that we, in order to get out of Egypt, we have to carry his body with us as we exit Egypt. Otherwise, we cannot find our way out of Egypt." So Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam turned towards them, the scholars, and said, "And who knows the location of the body of Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam?" They said to him, "An old lady of Bani Israel. She is the only one who knows the location of the grave." Musa alayhi salam called upon her to come. He said to her, "We want to know where the grave of Yusuf alayhi salam." And now, as I continue, please watch out for the dialogue. She said to him, "I will show you, but under one condition." He said to her, "What is it?" She said, "That I will be with you in heaven. This is my condition. You ask Allah Almighty that I will be with you in heaven. I will show you what the location of that grave is." Musa alayhi salam hesitated. He did not like the bargaining. Allah Almighty revealed to him, "Grant her what she wishes." Then he said, "Okay." She guided them towards a lake, and next to the lake, adjacent to it, was a pond. She said, "Take the water out of that pond, dry it out." So he called upon the men to clear the water from the pond, and she showed them where the location of the grave is, and she said, "You dig here, you can take his body out." They dried it out. They dug and found the body of Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam. As they raised it, immediately their path out of Egypt became clear as in broad daylight. This is the story that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ gave it to his companions in this small incident. It's not only a story. The method the Prophet Muhammad uses to teach his companions is real life situations, and he puts lessons for them to understand. Think of yourself. What if you were that Bedouin who came to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ? Think of it yourself. If you were that person who walked towards the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said to you, ask me and you shall be granted your wish. What's the first thing that comes into your mind? I don't want your answer now, but it is a question for you to think deeply. What is in your mind? What would you say? Would you ask for money? Would you ask for wealth? Would you ask for having a big bank account? Would you ask about having women or a beautiful woman? Would you ask about having so many children? What's your spontaneous answer or request that you would ask the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ had you been in front of that Bedouin? What is that runs into your mind? Is Islam part of what is in your mind? Is the propagation of Islam is part of your mind? What are the main objectives and goals and ambitions that you have in your mind, where if you granted the opportunity for them to happen, what is it the first thing you would say? When the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said this statement, and he gave them the story of the woman of Bani Israel, the elderly lady, he taught the companions of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he taught them one thing. This Bedouin, he had a golden opportunity to ask for better. Yet he, maybe based on his understanding, asked for something that was so easy to get. And so many incidents in the life of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, there were opportunities that some of the companions of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, they took advantage of it and they were granted. Remember when the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, on the day of judgment, 70,000 people will get into paradise without being questioned or beyond being held accountable for anything, without immediately they will get into paradise. What happened? One of the companions immediately jumped in. Ya Rasulullah, I want to be one of them. He said, you are one of them. Those who asked later said, he took the opportunity. The opportunity is to maximize when the time is right. The opportunity that your mind is alert and filled with high goals and objectives about your life, about Islam, whereas if you have this moment, your prayer is accepted, you have a question to ask Allah Almighty and you will grant it. The opportunity is what worries you in your mind. When you put your head on the pillow, what is in your mind? What's the value of you as a Muslim? What do you hold for Muslims and Islam in your mind and in your heart that runs with you all the time, as you walk, as you come in the masjid, as you pray, as you read Quran, as you sleep, as you walk around? What is it you carry for Islam in yourself? If you do not have the answer, this question will be yours on the day of judgment, and you have to answer Allah Almighty. أقول ما تسمعون واستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعهم بإحسان يوم الدين. عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه that the Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم said, Allah Almighty comes to the sky of this earth every night, and Allah Almighty says, who wants anything, I shall grant him. And whoever asks me for anything, and I shall give him. And whoever asks me for forgiveness, and I will forgive him. And that remains until Fajr. Fatima bint al-Husayn narrates that Hussein ibn Ali radiallahu anhu said that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Allah loves people with high goals and expectation and ambitions, and hates people with low ambitions and goals and objectives. The companions of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, till this day we talk about them. Why? Because their lives were set on high standards of achievement for Islam and Muslims. That's why they remain as if they are alive in the day, till the day of judgment. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, these are the last 10 days left, or 8 days left of Ramadan. These are the greatest opportunities and the greatest nights. In them there is Laylatul Qadr, which is equal to 84 years of continuous worship. In it were the Quran revealed in these few days that are left. In it there are the blessings of Allah come to the sky and to earth on us. Inna anzalnahu fi laylatin mubarakah, blessed night the Quran was revealed. These are the nights where our sins are forgiven. These are the nights, are the last few nights of Ramadan. And as they say, the final grade is what counts. Or as they say, the finishing is the seal of your perfection. It's the opportunity, the last few days is to gather up your full energy and to make sure that your end of this month is as perfect as possible. These few days, the masses and the great numbers of angels with Jibreel alayhi salam come to the skies of earth over here for us to ask Allah Almighty of what we want. Therefore, gather your strength, gather your energy, gather your thoughts, gather your wishes, gather your aspirations, gather everything in your mind, because any moment, or perhaps every moment in these nights, your prayer is accepted. عباد الله اعلموا أن الله سبحانه وتعالى أمركم بأمر بدأ بنفسه فقال جل القائل إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه والخلفاء الراشدين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين اللهم اغفر لنا خطأنا وإسرافنا في أمرنا وأصلح